military presence at the border with Ukraine. This follows last week's call between President Biden and Vladimir Putin. A newly released clip shows Putin saying he wants to have a face-to-face meeting with Biden, but Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says, quote, it is unlikely. Joining me right now is retired two-star Marine Corps general and National Defense Industrial Association chairman Arnold Punaro. General, it's great to have you. Thanks very much for being here this morning. The clip that I saw from the Biden-Putin meeting had Joe Biden saying to Putin, hopefully I'll see you in person the next time. Does it matter if it's person or on video between these two leaders? What is your assessment of that summit?
Well, Maria, first of all, it's a privilege and pleasure to be with you this morning. And frankly, now is the time for the United States, our allies, and our partners to act tough, not just talk tough. We have got to immediately intensify and enhance the deterrence to basically change Putin's calculation about whether or not he would invade Ukraine. Let's not kid ourselves. He has a massive military buildup on the eastern borders, as your map showed, on the northern and southern flanks. This is not an intimidation force. This is an invasion force. We need to significantly beef up the hard power, which is lethal weapons. I'll list those in a minute. And we need to also improve our soft power. The recently retired vice chair of the Joint Chiefs, General Hyten, says we need to responsibly declassify some capabilities we have to let Russia and China know vis-a-vis Taiwan that we have some capabilities that we could bring to bear that would put you in a very, very serious hurt locker. So we need to do all that. And finally, immediately, we need for Congress to cancel its Christmas recess and pass the defense funding bill. The defense committees, to their great credit, on a bipartisan basis, have increased the funding for fiscal 22 by close to $40 billion. And yet Congress now has failed to pass the funding bills. We're in a flat budget. DOD is losing $6 billion a month in terms of purchasing power, where they, in these new bills, have money to beef up Ukraine, money to go against China in the Indo-Pacific area, research and development increases for the hypersonic, artificial intelligence, and lethal weapons that we need, just a whole list of things. And so right now, and we are very worried about having a year-long continuing resolution where we would lose $70 billion, which would be worse than the worst situation that we had in the sequester years. So that's the situation we're in, and I can list for you the lethal increases that we need to do in Ukraine. We've got to give Ukraine the lethal weapons that Russia fears the most. Javelin anti-tank weapons. We need to give them Hellfire drones with Hellfire missiles. We need to give them anti-missile defenses like Patriots and drones, things like that, Maria.
Well, General, I'm really glad you brought up the NDAA as well as China, because it's very curious to me that the G7 is all of a sudden interested in protecting democracy and protecting Ukraine, making comments about Russia, and yet we haven't heard a peep from anybody in the G7 about China and what it did earlier this year in Hong Kong by, moving into Hong Kong, throwing the freedom fighters in jail, and deciding unilaterally to take over Hong Kong 25 years earlier than promised. I spoke with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, and we discussed China and Russia. Here's the Secretary. I want to get your reaction to this. Watch.
We need to challenge the Chinese Communist Party on every front. When you hear a Chinese military leader say they're preparing and they'll fire on Americans if we do so much as help the democracy in Taiwan be successful. These are the kind of things that administration must confront, our business leaders have to confront. This is a serious challenge that confronts the United States of America, and we all need to be serious in the way the Trump administration was serious to confront China on every front, diplomatic, economic, and military.
Well, I mean, what about that, General, in terms of China? Is this administration going to show any strength, any resolve against the Communist Party, given its bad behavior across the world? And I haven't even brought up COVID.
Maria, I'd like to add one list of the things that the former secretary said we need to confront China on. We also need to confront them on their technological advances. As you had pointed out, you have been a leader in pointing out the unbelievable growth in the Chinese military capability, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Just like Russia has this massive armada arrayed against Ukraine, China has beefed up their capability against Taiwan. fighters, bombers, submarines, amphibious staging areas, amphibious ships, transport ships. And so we've got to basically make it very clear that we are not going to allow China to compromise the independence of Taiwan, including if that means we've got to clear up the ambiguities in the Taiwan Relations Act. I was privileged to travel to China in 1979 when a Senate delegation met with Deng Xiaoping. It included John Glenn, Captain John McCain, then a Navy liaison officer or the escort officer. We also went to Taiwan and talked to them about how we needed to basically protect them. As a Marine, I've trained in amphibious operations. I know how difficult those are. And, you know, just look at the Marines in the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II. So China needs to understand that if they want to invade Taiwan, they're going to pay a very, very heavy price. We have got to beef up the defense capabilities, offensive and defense in Taiwan. One last thing, Taiwan ought to develop long-range missiles that they can range Shanghai, Chinese's financial center, and have sort of a mutual assured destruction like we have with nuclear weapons. You come at us, we're going to take down your financial infrastructure.
Well, I mean, you make so many important points, General, and right now the Congress is focused on the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, and in it, while they're giving fractional raises to our military, when you look at overall defense spending in Joe Biden's budget, Bernie Sanders' budget, really, you're talking about a decline in defense spending when compared to inflation. I mean, why are we seeing a decline in defense spending as our adversaries across the world are investing more and more in their own defenses? There was a story the other day that China was spending more money on its defense than several countries combined. Does this administration not recognize the severity and the threats that exist today facing America, that we're not even raising defense spending?
Maria, I'm glad you brought up this point about what China's doing.
General, just let me say, he's got a Build Back Better plan that's almost $5 trillion on a green economy, on child care and parental care, and no extra money on defense.
Maria, I'm glad you brought up China's spending because right now they are now spending more on research and development of new technologies, both defense and commercial, than the United States of America for the first time. You're absolutely correct. We have got to increase the level of defense spending, and that I give great credit to the Defense Committee. They've added $25 billion over the budget request on a strong bipartisan basis. The NDAAs are passing, but we've got to pass the funding bill. The funding bill is what gives the Pentagon the spending and the money. You also point out the internal Pac-Man of inflation. If you have 6% inflation, that's a $40 billion hit to the defense budget. 3% is $20 billion. Fuel inflation right now in DOD is 5 times what they budgeted. They're already curtailing training. So you're absolutely correct. We've got to have, and I think Congress will consistently raise the defense spending levels no matter what the budget request is, just like they did this year. But Congress needs to pass the funding bill. We've got to get access to that increased money so we can beef up Ukraine, so we can beef up Taiwan, so we can go after increasing our force structure in the Pacific.
Yeah. Really, really dangerous days, General. Dangerous times for sure. It's great to get your insights this morning. Thank you, sir. And thank you for your service to our great country.
Well,
General.
Happy New Year, Maria.